Hey there, welcome back to the On Brand, On Purpose podcast, where identity, influence, and intentions align. So today's guest is more than just a powerhouse entrepreneur. She's a longtime friend and living proof of what a brand evolution really looks like. From hiding behind the scenes to owning the spotlight, Jessie Hayes is dropping gems on confidence, clarity, and showing up on purpose. So let's get into it. I'm so excited to get back to the On Brand, On Purpose podcast with my next guest, Jessie Hayes. Jessie, okay, we have a task in front of us because I don't think we've ever had a serious conversation in the 25 years we've known each other.
No, we haven't. And even when we try, it doesn't stay serious,
So
right?
we're going to try to be serious for our guest. Maybe.
All
We're going to
right.
work on it. Okay. But no, I've known Jessie since college. When we worked at Express together at Briarwood Mall in Ann Arbor. So we go way, way back. And it's just been so wonderful seeing you evolve over those years. And we'll talk a little bit about the evolution of Jessie Hayes. And I'm sure you could say the same for me. I mean,
Definitely. Yeah, just watching you each day, and there's times where I'm looking at your stories and I'm like, Gabby, even with my oldest, did you check out Miss Cherie's stories? Just watching how you've thrived and moved up within the industry and how you are with your daughters. Very proud, extremely proud. You've always had that work ethic ever since I've met you and even before that. You know what I'm saying? So yeah,
and same, and vice versa.
yeah, definitely.
So, audience, you're in for a treat because we're never serious, but we got stories. And I think on the topic of personal branding, it is important to talk about evolution, talk about pivoting, and as you mentioned, mommyhood from businesses to corporations. It's just so much that's packed into that. So, with that, Jessie, why don't you give the audience a little bit of a taste of who you are and what you do?
Yeah, so Jessie Hayes, the CEO of the Hayes Institute of Aesthetics and Entrepreneurship. I help people thrive in the beauty industry, whether they're starting, scaling. My main thing is to make sure they're becoming profitable and that they're happy with the life they're living while building their beauty business. We also specialize in aesthetics and making sure that we can produce licensed estheticians. Also, the co-founder of the Wealth Investor Network. So, what we do is empower women in wealth, investment, entrepreneurship, corporate America, whether it's through masterclasses, partnerships, and networking events. And for the past 10 years, I was the CEO and founder of Skinforia Facial Bar. Was able to grow that from a small bedroom of my home to 3 locations to 30 employees and franchise it. So yeah, definitely evolution and being able to pivot. And I'm excited to even be here and I'm grateful. So thank you.
Thank you. And I mean, and we talked about our days at Express. I mean, reflecting back, 25 years ago, which even saying that, I feel
I know,
old.
like college, 25 years. Like, no, well, that's how old I am. How does that make sense?
Okay. So reflecting back at that time, and again, as you mentioned, I was hustler. I had multiple jobs. You two were out there. We were grinding, and we were in school. And so I guess when you think about where you are today and the businesses, plural, that you've had from then, like, did you imagine this? Or what were you thinking back then at that time? And I would tease into this conversation your former email address that I have.
Yeah.
Well, not that one, but the other one.
Okay, I don't know, a few came to mind because I done got in trouble a few times with my aunties, like, "Why do you have that ad?" Yeah. I knew I was going to do something big. I've always known I wanted to be an entrepreneur and grow something large. But really at college, I went to Eastern to become an English teacher.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? So I knew I was going to teach. I knew I was supposed to have an impact. I knew I was supposed to help people go from here to here. I never knew I would be teaching business owners and business leaders. So did I always know I knew something was going to be entrepreneurship later on down the line, but I thought it was starting off as being an English teacher. So no,
But then you started, I recall, doing what I always knew about you is you loved the spa. Anywhere we went, girls trips, we're going to the spa. So kind of connect the dots for us on that passion, I suppose it was,
yes,
and going to various spas to how you became an esthetician.
yes, I knew I wanted to be a business owner in Eastern Michigan. Senior year, I'm getting ready to graduate. I'm student teaching, and I'm like, oh no. Like, I'm gonna end up on the news, like, I can't be in nobody's classroom teaching kids. So I changed my major. I'm like, "Let me just go ahead and graduate." And then as I was working, I'm like, "What can I do?" My
Mhm.
family owned the business, and I'm like, "Nope, I can't work with my family and my mom. We're gonna bump heads. What do I love?" And I was like, "I love the spa. I love the spa. Like, I have to be in the spa all the time with my girlfriend." So I said, "Why don't I own a spa?" And I said, instead of just going and opening a spa, I need to learn the back end. Let me
Mm.
learn how to run it and let me learn about skin so I can help my employees, right?
Right.
And I went to aesthetic school and I fell in love with skin, fell in love with skin. And I said, I don't need a big spa. I want to do something with skincare. And I started to travel. And every time I traveled, I was at a spa and I just fused different parts of New York and California and Italy, all over Europe. Like I brought everything back and said, let me bring something different to Metro Detroit. And Skinforia was born.
Yes, and I remember those days because I think around that time, what year was that, by the way?
I started Skinforia 2014, and the first brick and mortar opened in Royal Oak in 2016.
2016. Okay, I was trying to think about where I was at the time, but I recall you reached out to me and you're like, "Hey, Cherise, need some help."
Yeah. Yeah, that was 2017. What was happening, so I had clients because I had clients out of my home, but none of my staff had clients, and when clients would come, we would get five-star reviews, but they wouldn't come back, and I'm like, "What is going on? I'm getting five-star reviews, you come every few months, I got VIPs canceling, but you're giving me five-star reviews." And I called you, I talked to you, and you're like, "Okay, we're gonna do a focus group," and I'm like, okay, but I just don't feel like that will help. But okay, you go ahead. That's your lane. You came in. I think we brought in what, 8 people probably from different parts of Skinforia, a VIP person that canceled, one that's still VIP, one that comes in all the time, one that's older, one younger. You had different people. We fed them. Jesse moved to the side and
Yep.
Sharice took over. And we realized just from that one focus group that you ran, I got pictures from that. Well, I got pictures of me trying to sneak in and do certain stuff.
Mhm.
It was my messaging. People were like, "You cleared my skin, so I don't need to come back." And I'm like, "Wait a minute. That's simple. I need a maintenance program." And then other people were like, "Hey, this is the hangout. I come after brunch and I just come with my girlfriends." And I'm like, I'm not creating a need.
Mm.
This is more of a want. I got to switch the messaging. So after the focus group with you, we switched the name from Skinforia Facial Bar to Skinforia Facial Bar and Acne Clinic. I
Mhm. That's
started
right.
pitching and I started changing the messaging, my website, everything. Before you would see 2 women toasting with mimosas. Then it started to be before and after photos. Let me show you how I can change your skin from the inside out. Let me show you how and why you need me. I
Mm.
started getting on stages, pitching, and how I changed lives from the inside out. We took off and it got so booked and busy, it was time to open a second location just from the messaging. The same treatments, same thing. It was the messaging and the branding, the evolution of Jesse. Cause then I popped out and said, okay, I'm the owner. Where before I was hiding and not showing my face.
And let's talk about that part. One, thank you. Again, what I appreciate about my friends is that they follow me, they know my career path, and so they trust, they reach out, and and then vice versa. By the way, I know when I need some feedback on skin, etc. I know who to go to. But I just that network, and I can attest to how strong you having a strong network and friendship over the years.
Definitely.
I do want to double click into our conversations around you because I believe when you first started the business, you did not even want your picture on the website
Nope. I
at all.
didn't at
And I
all.
remember the tough conversations we had. I can picture that moment where I'm like, just like, and you saying like you were, and I don't want to put words in your mouth. But I think there was fear, I think there was trepidation, just understanding the business dynamics, right? That happened. You're out in the suburbs trying to open up.
That's it. A black woman in skincare. 2014, 2016, black women wasn't getting skin. We were doing our hair, makeup, lashes. I'm like, I'm in Royal Oak. So I can't even hire. How's a black woman gonna hire white people? Yes, yeah, I was terrified.
Yeah.
News stations, when we're on the news, it was, oh, I need white people in front of me. Like, yeah, I was terrified. So yes.
Thank God we have advanced, 10, 11 years since then, although I think some of those dynamics still stand. because you're not the first person I've encountered as a business owner who wants to hide a little bit because of the concern of someone seeing your picture on the website and saying, "That's not for me." And I remember telling you, "You better tell them now before they walk in the door." You know what I'm saying? So it's if they're not for you, they're not for you. And so you hiding, and again, we'll go in deep here because I know there's some
Yeah.
funding components and all of that as well. But your business wasn't able to thrive, I would argue, until
Yeah.
came out into the front.
Definitely, definitely, because when I came out, we became booked and busy. People were like, "You look like me." There's no one that people were driving from Ohio. I had a couple clients fly in from California. They're like, "Nobody looked like me that do black skin," and it took off. So yeah, I was more nervous. And it wasn't about just me being black. It was how I presented myself. So when I was losing deals, it's the whole thing, my hair, my nails, my outfits, what car I pull up in. So I had to change the entire brand, and you and I were working not just on Skinforia. You helped me rebrand Jessie Hayes. What name do I go by? How do I look? How do I dress? And that was, I think we were going weeks of Jessie. Now, what's the name? What what name are you using? So
Yeah.
yeah, you had to do a whole inside out with not just the brand for Skinforia, but most importantly, Jessie Hayes, the brand.
Again, you're not alone in this journey. So I love the transparency here that we're gonna, talk through. But can you explain, and I don't know if I've specifically asked you this before, but like when we would wrap up, like what were the things going through your head around, okay, you have a consultant, if you will, a coach saying do one thing, you have your own, like, were you stewing on it at night? Were you talking to other people? Like what helped you get over that hurdle ultimately?
I've learned not to talk to other people because I was starting in a lane that most people didn't go in my area. So I didn't really talk to anybody. It was more of, am I worthy of this? They're
Mm,
gonna really find out the real. This isn't the real Jessie. This is probably the woman I want to become. So
mm.
am I faking it? Is it? So how do I still show my authentic self, but still be this woman here that's running this type of business? So it was fear. It was, is this really who I am? And is this how I should show up?
It's so interesting that we hold on. Okay, some people hold on to baggage, and how much that gets in the way of the future, right? I read this meme online that says, as soon as you start to be happy, someone calling out some stuff you did in 2017.
Mhm. Girl,
And I was thinking about us in the club, girl.
and the prank phone calls with the football team, and oh, please. I'm like, "We've really grown. Thank you, God."
We've grown, but we are not only have we grown, but we are we're human. I see from you all the time is you crying all the time on these stages.
Still cry, yeah. Yeah, I don't cry as much, but
And let me clarify. When Jessica gets, she can't cry right now, probably on this camera.
I'm a very emotional person, all
When
right?
she gets to talking, when she is a wonderful speaker, next thing you know, that girl, got a little tear in her eye,
Yeah.
and I'm in her DMs like, "Girl, shut up," But no, truly, that speaks to the testimony, quite
Yeah.
frankly. I think oftentimes when you are emotional, and myself, it's testimonies we got.
Oh, that's it.
And that is what connects people, and you know that. It's a testimony.
That is it. That
Yeah,
is it.
so I am so grateful that it's been so great to see you step out in front. And it was not just the pictures on your website. We talked a lot about your about me page.
Yeah.
That is one thing I used to coach a lot of entrepreneurs on. And while they would hire me, if you will, for coaching their business, we would spend a lot of time focusing on them and that about me page in particular, about how much you share your story, because ultimately someone needs to trust you. And so you got to give them enough for them to say, I can connect with her on, X, Y, and Z. And so I remember when you started to post a little bit about your kids and your family, and they're like, oh, wow. And she has 3 daughters. And those are things that are endearing.
That's huge. You know what? Those posts actually done the most to where I got the most bookings. I got the most bookings when they see a little bit of my daughters, a little bit of my husband. Jesse went on a girls' trip. One of the posts that got the most was me changing a light bulb. And they're like, the owner? goes in there and change. I was in a hoodie
Mm.
changing a light bulb, and I'm like, wait a minute. They want to see the behind the scenes, the grind, the hustle. I always tell my staff and the students, people invest in people, and
Correct.
people want to see, like, do I even like Jessie Hayes? Do I connect with her? I want, and then when they see the evolution of Jessie Hayes and Skinforia and the Hayes Institute, they feel invested and like they're like, okay, I'm on the ride with her. And
Mhm.
that's what's happened these past several years.
So when you talked about for the person that you were becoming, you made some adjustments into how you showed up. Is that fair?
Definitely.
What are some of the things that you tweaked or evolved?
I'm still evolving, Cherie. So, like, even now, I am not the same Jessie I was 2 years ago. And then that Jessie wasn't the same person maybe 5 years ago before that. So, I am personally evolving my brand, all of that. So, what I will say when people think about that is not just my brand. My brand encompasses my hairstyle. So, I'm constantly thinking about what hairstyle. How do I dress? I lost a lot of deals because I'm coming from grad school, pulling up, getting a hoodie, trying to close a deal. And
Mhm.
they like, who is this chick? Now I got to have a blazer on. And then I went from blazers to now when I'm on stage, I usually wear white. So you're going to see now with me and my PR team and marketing team, they're like, where's Jessie White? My social media, my photos is white because I want to be the light of
Mm.
the room. I want to be the light of every room I walk in, every conversation I'm in, every text thread. So I'm thinking not just what I say and my mindset and the people that I hang around. I am thinking about how I look, how I speak, how I shake hands, all of that. So all of that has evolved and all of that is constantly changing.
Yeah, I'm so glad we're talking about that because oftentimes when I hear about personal branding, they focus so much on maybe a photographer or even apparel, right? Or, hairstyle, which are important to be clear. But what I hear from you is you had a strategy, right? You had clarity. The fact that you just said you wanted to be the light, like that's deep. And that means, even though you and I haven't talked about this, color theory
Mm,
and the importance of colors and what they signal.
yes,
And so oftentimes people jump straight to, well, let me get a stylist, let me get this nice car. And that could be a cheat code. But if you don't know who you are and who you're trying to attract, then, you may waste a lot of money, quite frankly, just
definitely.
trying to copycat off of somebody else. And so, again, for someone who has known you and seen you evolve, I can say that as a testament to seeing you shift. And it's not going from bad. Let me be clear. It's not going from bad to good. It's just understanding your audience and how
That's
your
it.
audience evolves, understanding the landscape, because now you have multiple locations and multiple businesses, right? And how you need to step into those different rooms. You have to, what got you here will get you there.
That's it. And my audience has changed. So when Skinforia started, I was talking to clients, people who needed their skin cleared.
Mhm.
Then it changed to I need to speak to estheticians. I need to speak to people who are I'm trying to get employees. I'm trying to build Skinforia and I'm trying to build this business. Now I'm speaking to entrepreneurs, investors, and people who want to give up. They're like, I'm tired. I'm
Mm.
worn out. How do I go from here to a multimillionaire? Or how do I go from one location to several? So my audience has changed. So my tone has changed. And just the things that I've been through has made me change, definitely.
Mhm. And I think that's the cool part, by the way. When you work on personal branding, you have tools that will apply even 5 years from now,
Yes,
right? Where you're like, okay, nope, I got to think about my audience. I may want to shift my hair, right? Or shift my car, etc. Those are lifelong tools that, you can learn when you just have a strategy to start. So if I had to ask you to describe your personal brand in 3 words, what would you say?
so like I said, it's been changing, but one thing that's never changed, that's been consistent for these past 12 years, visionary. Consistently, I'm seeing beyond. I have to see beyond the present. I am building the institution. I'm building ecosystems. I'm building opportunities that don't exist. I
Mm.
have to take my team and say, I know how it looks right now, but just follow me for the future and let's look at how things can be. I have to be a visionary in my household. I'm a visionary with my daughters, where they're
Mhm.
like, oh my God, stuff is falling apart. And I'm like, no, that was just a bad situation. How do we take that from here and make it great? So, visionary is one. That's how I get my team to follow me and clients and trying to get my head out the gutter of what might be going wrong now. The main thing that I feel like I've always done, but I'm really putting more emphasis on now, Sharice, is empowering.
Mm.
I need to inspire, motivate. I need to, when you, like I said, want to give up, you want to quit. It might just be some tweaks. It might be some small tweaks in your business. And it's like, no, you got something special. So, how do I empower you with every conversation, every handshake, anytime you see Jessie? Like I said, this is why I wear white. So, these past 2 years, it was like, how, if I'm going to empower people, when I walk in a room, you have to be like, who is that woman? She's like the light. I feel something when I see her, when I talk to her. So
Mhm.
empowering. And then I feel like this is from day one, but I'm really trying to put more into this transformative. Like I like to turn ideas into ventures. I like to turn people from good to great.
Mhm.
Like to start things where people don't see nothing from it and they're looking at how everything can go wrong. And I'm like, oh no, that's something huge. So yeah, I say transformative with the way I think and the way I do business.
That's awesome. I'm taking notes, child,
Okay,
as you know.
please do. Help your sister. Help me go to the
Let me
next
tell
level.
you, no, I mean, the theme I see and which I think is really inspiring is every word you said is about the impact on someone else.
Mm,
And that's an evolution in itself. When we go from being in the trenches, frankly, in our 20s to just trying to get ourselves together and to now being in a comfortable state saying, I now want to impact others. And I do think that's an evolution of confidence, a little bit of security as well in yourself, I would say. Would you
thank
agree?
you for that. Yeah. And you know what? I didn't even pay attention that it's all doing that. But there's times that I've been wanting to give up, even with these past 2 years. And there's something in me with God and the Lord just saying, no, you are meant to be of service. This is what you are meant to do. And everything that you done with Skinforia was training. Now the
Mm.
real work starts, so I'm not saying this is what I wanted to do, Cherise. There's been times I've been running away from it. Like, let me just get a job. I can make this. I could do that. And it's like, no, you are put on this earth to do this. So you better go. You know what I'm saying?
You know what?
For
And
that.
we haven't spoken in a while on this, or maybe we did catch up a little bit, but similarly, same, just feeling that push. I don't know if it's our age range or the trials, but I know that they were all for a reason,
Reason.
to inspire. And that's why, frankly, I created this platform, is to have guests like you and for us to just talk about our journeys. So you talk a lot about, you mentioned visionary, empowering, transformative. So let's now evolve to your current business, which is the Hayes Institute.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit more about why you've evolved your business to that as far as the impact that you wanted to have on the community.
I saw the gap in the industry for education. So, like, I was hiring from all of the beauty schools, so I've been hiring. I'm like, everybody I hire, I have to retrain. And then it's not just training skincare. I can train you on chemical peels and facials. I'm like, y'all don't know how to show up. You don't know how to dress. You don't know how to speak. You don't know how to do eye contact. Your resume is a mess. So I'm like, how do I don't want to just keep growing Skinforia. There is a problem here where it's a
Mm.
mindset thing. So, Jesse, how do you start to help people and educate them and change them with their mindset versus just teaching them how to do a facial? So that's where the Hayes Institute came, where it was not just teaching them how to become licensed estheticians, but teaching them the power of business, how to be a boss, how to think like a boss. Is this something you even want to do? Because let me show you the behind the scenes and how life really will be and how to speak it, how to walk in it. So I saw the gap, and I'm like, okay, I don't want just a beauty school. No, this is a business school, and this is somebody in a school where we are helping with your mindset.
So you mentioned you previously would hire folks who just weren't fully there yet from a
Yeah.
mindset perspective, right? How did that impact the business? If they weren't yeah, talk a little bit more about you saw the gap, but how did that translate into how
It
your
was
business ran?
huge. It's huge. One, I found myself training on stuff where I'm like, this is remedial things. Like, I shouldn't, why am I having business meetings on don't wear house shoes to work? Like, this is the way you're in the beauty industry. So I found myself changing how you show up to work. Before it was okay, show up business casual. No, you can't even. And then I would say, show up with scrubs. I can't say that. Now I have to say all navy blue, 3 pieces of makeup. You're in the beauty industry. So if Sharice is coming for skincare and you're sitting in front of Sharice helping her with her skin and all she sees is dark spots on your face, that credibility, that's like going to a trainer and they're overweight. I'm like, I've lost respect and I've lost that. Okay, wait a minute. She's at the top of her field. I don't care what you know. So
Mhm.
it's not just about how much you know, it is how do I show up? So I found myself teaching more of that and spending more of that with my trainings for every location I had. It was like, okay, we got to slow down. Let's train them on how to speak. I spent so much time speaking on give eye contact, stop looking down, stop saying, so my training has been on that because I would get on stage and talk about Skinforia. I would bring the people in and they're like, it doesn't match what
Mm.
Jessie said. So this location here in Royal Oaks doing it, this location Corktown's not doing it, this location in Dallas, and it was no, we got to all be aligned with the way we greet people, the way we answer the phone. So the messaging wasn't the same. We weren't in alignment. They like Jessie saying this, but this manager here is aligning and making sure everybody's doing it. This manager here is not. I go to this spot, it smells like fried chicken. Somebody's eating chicken in the back. I go here, her nails are dirty. It was Jessie having to get everybody aligned because the messaging wasn't the same.
Mm.
It's difficult to stand out in a competitive market. Everybody's in the beauty industry. So I got one time for you to sit in my chair and me to be a beast where Sharice like, I'm not going nowhere else. And that's the way I look, the way I speak, the way I dress, and then the facial. That's the easy part, right? The customer service. So yeah, it was breaking down the communication. It was breaking down the messaging. I was losing money in training. I was spending thousands and thousands of dollars on training for that. And then it was changing my reviews. So I
Mhm.
went from a 5-star review, and then I'm like, wait a minute, why am I getting 3 stars? Why am I getting 2 stars? And I'm like, oh my gosh, y'all not following the script. You just putting people on hold. You say, no, may you hold, please. Like, so I have to, even when I'm having things of what they need to say in scripts, everybody have to be aligned with the same way.
Ooh, you said a lot, and I think
And
that
I'm
that
sorry, I
is
can keep on going. So my apologies, because that will ruin a business. That's what ruins the business.
and I what you're saying is facts across any industry, right? Especially for beauty. I see it in my industry as well, where if you're not embodying the brand, even
Yeah.
as someone who's back of house, if you will, there's a disconnect. There's a disconnect, which is why I've been very intentional about every brand that I've worked on in my career, having a level of passion and purpose behind that.
Yes.
Because I know that I'm representing the brand, and that translates into how much effort and care I put into my craft, right, as a marketer. But what I hear from you is, let's say everyone has good intentions, right? We'll just start with that. Everyone has good intentions. They want to be hired. They want you to do well at work, but they were missing some fundamentals that made them, frankly, attractive and valuable as an employer. And I wish more people thought about that. I was telling a woman yesterday who was interested in my workshops. I said that, I wish more people talked about personal branding in their 20s.
Mm,
I wish it was a curriculum because we tend to lose sight that
yeah.
we are representing, an organization and representing a founder, in everything we do. And yeah, it's just a miss. And so I think, I've created platforms to hopefully help people, but I wish I
Mm.
had.
Huge help. But you know what? I've had people come and speak and do branding, but again, they don't embody what that company, so when they're coming in, they don't go as deep as you. So we're talking about the website and the colors, and I'm like, no, you must not have ran no business. Like, what have you built? So now I have to I watch, even we do technical assistance. I'm on several boards. And
Mhm.
I'm like, wait, we got people teaching classes that haven't built anything. They got a nice website. They say, I'm branding and I'm in marketing. They don't know nothing about trying to build a company based on the brand and the marketing and the
Yeah.
messaging. So I feel like you did a deeper dive because we do have people come and teach, especially here in Metro Detroit. We have companies that teach and do stuff with technical assistance, and they're missing the mark, even when they're teaching these companies about the branding.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that is, to your point, it may not have built, but I think that where you and I and a lot of my clients, what we always align on is our values. There's a
Yes.
values component to branding that isn't often discussed enough. And so, what I know of you, and I'm sure that you represent when you walk into your businesses, is your values. It's on full display. And if you don't have employees who are aligned with that, I mean, that's a disconnect. What I've said to some folks is, it's not that you have to just go to any company and say, I'm going to embody your values, right? It's you to be clear on who you are and don't even apply for things.
That's it. Otherwise, you're gonna be upset. You're like, "I don't this
We
is"
all
Mm,
upset.
exactly. I
We
don't
all
want
upset. And so it starts within. I just want to reiterate. I would argue you lost money, time, all the things because you felt like you had to coach people on their brand, but that's not your job.
hundreds of thousands of dollars
Yeah.
because of that. So money and training, money and staffing, rehiring, knowing one person's about to leave, I got to move somebody out. Now I got to hire somebody else and do 90 days of train. Hundreds of thousands of dollars because of that. And people thinking like, yes, I'm aligned and I'm ready and I want greatness, but they're not showing up or willing to accept. This is what that embodies. You said you want to be here, but you showing this,
Hmm.
and I'm trying to actually help you to get to that level, and you're not taking that in.
And you
So
don't have to. Let me be clear. I find that especially solo entrepreneurs or just in general, like you wear a lot of hats. I mean, you're your own accountant, you're this, you're that, you're maintenance man,
yeah,
woman, you're screwing light bulbs. You don't have the capacity to now have to parent someone. And so that's why I do think that ownership does fall on us as individuals versus waiting on a company to teach you everything. I mean, some of this stuff is pretty straightforward. You can read about it, do some self-awareness assessments. But now you're in a space where you're saying, okay, I want to lean in and hyper focus on education.
yes.
Like, what has been that shift that you've seen in the people that you work with today as far as that personal branding?
So I still see the gap. So when you come into the Hayes Institute, you are. I had a team where it was like my coordinator and sales, and they do tours, and I'm like, nobody can do a tour and sell the Hayes Institute like Jessie can. So I
Mhm,
need to see everybody face to face. So when they come in for the tour, I'm trying to see. Are you trying to be an esthetician because you're trying to do a side hustle, or
mm,
you want to be good and maybe make six figures, or do you want to be a beast?
mm,
You want to dominate the market where you're at. So
mhm,
if this is a side hustle, or if you say, no, I'm trying to make six figures, I want to be great. No, I'm trying to get the people to be beast mode. So I turn away a lot of students because I'm like, they couldn't handle what I have to tell them and what I'm going to educate them. And it's not just, am I the right school for them? Are you the right for me? Because you're wearing my name. I need people like Sharice to say, oh, you must have went to the Hayes Institute, right?
mhm,
So even though when I get the students, there's still a gap because I can teach you and I can have 20 students and it could still just be one, Sharice, that might say, I get it and I'm operating in excellence every day. Not just I'm showing up and I know all of the terms, I know the ingredients. I'm operating and I got my three pieces of makeup on. I look good, I smell good. I'm doing my social media, the way I respond to people, my coworkers, the other students is of excellence. It's still the same thing. So no matter what I teach or how I teach, it's really about that person and if they're receptive to it and are they ready to go to that next level.
yeah. Talk a little bit more. You mentioned beast mode a few times. Like, how would you delineate the mindset of that person versus, like you said, someone that's coming in and saying, "Hey, I want to be a great employee, make six figures." What are you looking for in that beast mode mindset?
There's a purpose. There's a why. The why is so strong, it's hard for you to sleep at night because you're in
Mm,
the middle of the night, you're thinking of ideas. All you envision is you doing this. And when you try to go do other stuff that might be easy, you're like, no, something is pulling me back to this.
mm,
You can cry in your car, but when you walk in the building, it changes because you're like, no, my energy and everything has to change. So they are willing to do any and everything to be great. They are willing to accept that constructive criticism and say, okay,
mm,
I'm ready. I get it. I understand. Even with me, it's like, no, tell me how to be a better CEO, how to be a better leader. I want to hear that. That was the way Skin Warrior grew. People would come in and be like, oh, this is great. And I'm like, no, I don't. You're supposed to be my friend. I don't want to hear it's great.
mm,
And I had maybe three people out of all the friends and family. will say, "No, girl, your bathroom dirty." "No, girl, you said this, but the music when you walk out, the music is here." You have to
Mm,
be able to accept the constructive criticism. So that's what I noticed the difference is their why is something so strong, they can't think of anything else, and they're willing to do and go above everybody else, even if for a long distance and a long, period of time. They're not gonna follow what the other 19 people are doing. It's usually one. It's usually
yeah.
one of that.
And that it'll be interesting to test out that ratio over time because, there's you only can control what you can control,
Yeah.
right? And how people their purpose, quite frankly, right? It's personal. But what I love about what you're saying though is you're very transparent. You're very transparent about what you're looking for.
Yeah.
And it is then up to that person, right, to say, I want to get on board. And you're saying, like, we gonna grind. I want to see this type of energy because you know that you're trying to develop greatness. And like you said, that's gonna turn away some people who are just trying to, make some ends meet. And there's nothing wrong with
There's
that.
nothing wrong with that. I actually try to push you away during the tours. It's like
Mm,
I might not be the right person. I know what you see on social media, but the stuff that I've done and the where I'm at, it took a different level. There's people that's way smarter than me, but their why and their grind, they could not grind me. So I actually try to push people away to say, no, go to these other, they're great schools. But when I find somebody that wanna be that's a beast, oh, Jesse's going to do any and everything to put you in the rooms, to get you the funding, to get you the buildings and everything that you need to go to that next level. So it helps me see who do I pour into, who does my community pour into, and who does my network. When do Jessie pull in her network to say, okay, this person needs help?
yeah. No, that's real. And like I said, in general, these days, just be transparent. Both sides.
Both sides.
Employers, employees. So
Yeah.
that we can you said the word earlier, alignment is
Yeah.
key. We gotta be aligned. So, you on billboards.
No, I'm like, what? They put me on? Yeah, it's
You
crazy.
on billboards in Detroit
It's,
now,
it's
okay.
crazy.
Metro Detroit. So which is always I'm so proud of you, but like I said, I be in your DMs like,
Like,
"You
for
ain't gotta humble you."
you be humbling the mess out of me. But I
We
humble you too.
To be clear,
I
it's a few of us, we just like to humble each other
we
in our
do.
DM. Like, I remember you when you was
Like, come on now, sexy Jessie. So yeah, I love it. I love it though.
and you've won some awards. Can you talk a little bit about that? And I guess maybe less about the accolades, but like, how did it feel? How does it feel, right? From Jesse working at Express to, on billboards, winning cranes I see behind you. Like,
You know what, Sharice? I'll be honest, and I think this is the evolution of me transforming and changing. I didn't feel nothing then. I
mm,
think I'm starting to feel it now. Before I was just on, I gotta work, I gotta grind, next, next, next. I had to literally sit in Skinforia and say, what the? I built this? Like I am the owner, like I have 30 employees. Like it never, so awards never met. I don't even want to go to half of the award ceremonies. My friends usually have to make me
mm,
go. I mean, cranes, my friends had to buy tickets and make me get out of bed to go to cranes because I was so on no, I got to go to the next level. I got to do this. So I am now trying to tone it down and say, um, feel it. I got to feel it and accept it and say, thank you, Lord, for where I'm at. Let me take this in. Let me sit on my back porch and drink my tea and say, wow, Jesse, great
mm.
job. Thank you, Lord. And how do I help other people get here? So before that, I didn't feel anything.
Yeah.
I didn't. It was just work, work, work.
And I can relate to that. And, I think you and I are very similar that we come from not much at all. And so we are just steady and grind, grind, grind. And we know we got to pay the bills. We security blanket for our families, and to, be in our 40s and still feel like I'm not there yet. I still got to grind, grind, grind. And to also be in businesses where we know that's about the people that we're serving. And you see so many people that need to be served. You could be in this perpetual state of hustle and not pausing.
Yes.
So I feel you on that response because I think I'm very similar. Where a lot of people are like, "Girl, you doing X, Y, and Z," and I'm like, "Oh yeah, 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 that little
Yeah. That little bit, right. Like, no, I'm trying to do
trying to get up there."
much better. I think we're both getting better at that, where it's like, "No,
Yeah.
I'm accepting and no, I am a beast. I am a boss, and I'm doing great, and thank you." Thank you, Lord, for where I'm at and what I'm doing. And let me be grateful for the space I'm in now and not constantly trying to go to the next level, next level, and next level. Let me just sit here for a minute and say, oh, this feels good. So I'm just now at that moment.
Yeah. And I think that's fine, to be in our 40s and to know we've grinded well. And I always say, like, I did that grind so that I can rest, so that
Yes,
I can work smarter, not harder. Right. And I have been more intentional. You probably have seen this about showing what rest and joy looks like.
I love
Yes,
it.
I grind. I have a lot on my plate, but you're also going to see a Black woman who is trying to find rest, joy, love, all of those things. And so, I had someone comment recently on, you see me, girl, like here, there, everywhere. And how do you do it? And I never really have a clear answer on that question, by the way. It's just that I want to live a well-rounded life. And so it is important for me to surprise my girls with Disney tomorrow, right? Even though I am exhausted. And so I guess that's the thing. I've now have moved to prioritizing a well-rounded life.
That's it. That's
So
it.
I would say for you, like where do you see the next phases? I know the Institute is a year, how many, over a year, correct?
Yeah, we're just hitting a year and a few months.
Okay. So hitting a year, clearly you still got work to do, but what is the next phase? What are you preparing yourself for?
Wow, that's a hard question. And I think about that constantly because I even thought about this before doing the institute. I'm like, do I want to scale? Like, I know how to scale and open up several. And I'm like, do I want that? So honestly, Sharice, I'm going to do whatever feels right. The doors are opening, they're opening left and right. What's different now is before I used to force it. I used to force, like, oh, this opportunity, I got to close this deal. Now I'm like, nope. And the doors are opening. I'm attracting more money, I'm attracting opportunities. There's huge deals coming that I thought I would say no to, where I'm like, God, you want me to walk through this door? So s- I don't know. Stuff could be changing even within the next couple months, but it's going to feel right. It's going to feel right for me, my husband, and my children.
Yeah, I love that you use the word attract. And the one word that I use often is being magnetic. And
Yes.
I feel like if you exude, which I believe you've have been on a journey to being more comfortable and confident in being who you are, you're going to attract. You're not going to need to work and spend as much money exhausting yourself to get these opportunities. They're going to come authentically, organically, I should say, to you.
A
That's the
hundred
cheat code of personal branding.
120%. Before it was I was sending letters, who want to invest, who want to do this? I'm trying to get people to close deals. Sharice, I haven't picked up my phone and made a call. I haven't asked nobody for anything. It is just like I wake up and I was like, "Oh my God." Like money, everything is starting to change and I'm like, and I'm just coming up more authentic. I'm just showing more of Jessie, more of my personality, kind of the fun side, the business side and enjoying my kids more. I said, nope, I don't want to work Sundays anymore. Even though Sundays was my busy day,
Mhm.
I don't have to work Sundays and the money still comes. It's crazy. It is crazy. So I'm just going with, I don't know what's planned. I don't, because in my head it's planned and God has taken me on a whole different journey.
That's totally fair, and I think, to that point, if you asked me the same question, I wouldn't be able to answer it either. I have a level of discomfort with the fact that I don't know what the future
Yes,
is. Ever, I have confidence that it's gonna be great.
that's
Like, and
good.
it's a weird space to be in, and so that's why perhaps it's an unfair
That's
question,
it.
but I think to your point, when you know that you're attracting things that are you're gonna attract a lot of things. You're gonna attract some haters too, but you will attract,
It's more and more hate, yeah, so that's the one thing I'm losing people and friendships and stuff left and right, but it feels good. It feels good. It's working out, and it's not bad, it's just shifting energies, whereas, like, you
Yeah.
were great for me this season, and I was great for you that season. Jesse might not be great for Sharice this season,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? So, it nothing's bad, but it's shifting with the energy and, it feels really good.
I argue because you are now more aligned with God's purpose for you. Going back to the word of alignment, right? And I think when you finally just clear away all the barriers and the excuses that we personally put on things. And it's like, all right, fine, I surrender. And it's a weird feeling. It definitely is a weird feeling, girl. I feel you on that. And like you said, it does shift your environments as well and just being comfortable with that.
And being comfortable, that's the thing, because you could be in the environment, and I'm in a lot of environments like, wow, this doesn't, I'm not laughing at the same jokes anymore.
Mm.
I'm at the table, like, I've been at this table for years. This doesn't feel right. Why am I here? I'm not comfortable. And God is saying, you shouldn't even be here. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm in a lot of rooms where it was like, no, this doesn't feel right. I got to get out this room. No,
Mhm.
Leonard, we ain't going on that double date with those. But like, this is, it is,
Yeah, and
is
it's no shade. I think it's
no
just
shade.
evolution of people, right? And then maybe at some point you will see them again,
Mm,
in a different phase because
in a
as we
different
all
phase.
are evolving. But I think sometimes we tend to hold ourselves back so that they can catch up, and
Mm,
that's
girl,
another ministry.
that's another.
Okay, we had to wrap that episode before we went down a tangent, but big love to Jessie Hayes for showing up with so much honesty, wisdom, and lived experience. If this episode resonated with you, make sure you subscribe, share with a friend, and leave a review. And remember, your brand isn't just what they see, it's how you show up. So stay on brand and on purpose, and I'll see you next time.